What does that sound, you ask?
From the number one station, you come.
Welcome to the Rec Show podcast, a show dedicated to beat makers around the world. Kick back, relax with the host, Gldnmnd.
I hope y'all count y'all blessings and not y'all problems. Yeah, man. Yo, spring is out. The birds is chirping. You see some green coming from the brown grass. You know what I mean? Some green coming from the plants and all that, the trees. Yeah, man. Sunshine out. Yo, air's a little bit. Yeah, man. Yo, what's up, everybody? Gldnmnd here, and welcome to another episode of the Rec Show podcast. We are on episode 40 right now. You listening to Who Knows with that Earth Sign beat tape. And this track is called Scorpio Moon, man. Yo, this joint is incredible. Who Knows, man. Shout out to you, man. I had to use it for the intro, man. Appreciate you for blessing me with this. But, yo, man, we gonna get into another episode with a We Like Chops collaborator, a New York native, Rhythm Junkies, Floor Militia collaborator, man, South Valley Stream, New York, man. Y'all welcome to the show, the one and only Jhershey, man. He be killing it with the SP404s. Y'all welcome Jhershey to the show. We're gonna hear his music. We're gonna hear about him, get to know him a little bit better, and we gonna vibe out, man. So smoke him if you got him, drink him if you got him, kick back, relax if you're listening to the car. Turn the volume up, man. We gonna get into it, man. Peace and love, yo. Yeah.
Yo, this is Jhershey, and you're now plugged into the Rec Show podcast with the bro Gldnmnd. Let's get into it.
joint is called Bo Diddley, man. Yo, we back, episode 40 with Jhershey, man. So, yo, I asked Jhershey some questions, man. We're gonna get right into the episode, man. All right, we'll get right into the interview. Yeah. Yo, so Jhershey, man, appreciate you for being on the show, man. Thank you for blessing us with your, your presence, your outlook, your introspection on the show, man. So question number one is always, for anybody who listens to the show, for beatheads or the internets, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Where are you from? What your name means? And then how your name was created, and then any associated collectives you might be a part of, and all that type of stuff. You feel me?
Yo, I go by the name Jhershey, and first and foremost, I really want to give a shout out to you, Gldnmnd. I really like what you're doing with this whole show, putting on a platform for us beat makers out there, and all us creative people. I think it's really dope. I definitely just wanted to give you a shout out before I even get into it.
That's love, y'all. Appreciate you.
But yeah, for the beatheads out there, for anybody listening, for regular listeners, I go by the name Jhershey. I hail from Valley Stream, New York, which is in Long Island, right on the border of Queens. I'm originally from Jamaica, Queens. I moved when I was 12 to Valley Stream, Long Island, so that is where I grew up. For the high school years, a lot of the hip hop head years. I spent a lot of time in Queens just absorbing what was around me, and then when I moved to Long Island, it was kind of like the era of me finding out how much I loved this hip hop thing. In terms of how it was created, like, to be completely honest, like, growing up in high school, I'm very dark skinned, so when I was going through high school, it was a mixed high school, so I used to deal with a lot of like kind of colorism, stuff like that, stuff from your own people, stuff from other people, just kind of like picking at your skin and stuff. But as I started to grow more and like go from high school to college, and I really started to grow into myself, I'd say I started to like kind of flaunt my dark skin, it's beauty, it's really just loving myself, it's self-love. And one thing that a lot of women would say, to be honest, they refer to you as chocolate and stuff, like, just gonna keep it a buck. And I just kind of ran with Hershey because that's actually my favorite chocolate, to be honest. And then J, that's my actual name, like, that's my government name, J. It's not short for anything, like, that's really my name. So I just put the J and the Hershey together. Some people call me Hershey for short, some people call me Hirsch. People in my real life call me Jay, so it just goes together, It ain't really nothing crazy to it. I kind of just made it up. But, that's my name. I've been riding with it for a while now, And, I dig it, I definitely like Hirsch, it has a nice ring to it. But, that's how we got that.
Yo, so that's dope, actually. So listen, like, how did you begin your journey into music and sampling? And then what's that one moment you remember that, sparked your interest into making your own beats, yo?
Music and sampling, like, honestly, the one moment that sparked me, it's several moments, to be honest. Like, when I first heard The Unseen by Madlib, that was a moment where I knew I definitely wanted to make beats. Like, I thought, wow, like, he made some crazy stuff with this. Like it really just showed how crazy you could take making beats too. But in all reality, it goes back even before that, because I've been into beats really since I was a child. Like, I used to see the Adult Swim bumps, like I was one of those children that used to stay up late. I grew up in the 2000s, so I'm not even supposed to be watching Adult Swim, but it was on, and it was playing these crazy instrumentals in between the cartoons. And it's crazy because it wasn't even until high school that a friend of mine who's actually younger than me, he played me a Flying Lotus beat, and I was like, yo, I recognize that. Come to find out, it was Massage Situation, legendary song on the beat, where we all know about that. And it was kind of mind blowing because I was like, oh, I remember this from the Adult Swim days. And then, shout out to him. His name's Amiri, you know what I mean? Shout out to him. He's a really dope producer too. He used to make beats on FL Studio, so I used to just watch him, and this dude was younger than me, and like, he was killing it. This dude was killing it, man. And it's just like, from there, I just knew that, like, I had to kind of like go down that rabbit hole, you know what I mean, of just beats and stuff, but it's crazy because I actually didn't come back into beats until way later. But after I heard The Unseen and later in college, I heard Donuts, and Donuts was another moment where it was like, yo, I know these beats from the Adult Swim days. Like, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't crazy about Dilla. I knew who Dilla was though, because I was a hip hop head already for some years. This is like between high school and college. But then when I really sat and listened to Donuts, and I'm not gonna lie, edibles come into play. You know, this was literally like sophomore year. I was kind of just getting into, you know, that, and it was just this one experience I had. You know, I was on edibles. I'm listening to Donuts, and it was just clicking, man. Like, this guy Dilla is something else. Like, I understand why people say what they say. You know, again, like, I already heard Champion Sound. I thought that was super dope. The Red is crazy. But, like, I don't know, something about Donuts made me say, I really want to try this. Like, between Dilla and Madlib, you know, that whole J-Lib sound, MF Doom, of course, RZA. I'm a huge Wu-Tang head, De La Soul, Prince Paul. I could go on and on, but, you know, just listening to these dudes, you know, and just being a real genuine hip-hop fan, being a b-boy, you know, like, that made me want to approach the music myself, you know, like how can I do this, you know? And at first I didn't really know what I was doing. You know, I tried to make the beats in high school, and just to give you a timeline, this is like 9th grade. I tried to make beats, but it didn't really work out. I didn't really know what I was doing. But when I came back to it, this is all the way after I graduated college, you know, that's when I said, I'm gonna try this again. And I went to a friend's house, and he actually had the Machine MK2 Micro, yeah. And I just saw him use it, and I instantly knew, like, oh, I gotta try this out. And I had a decision to make between buying a PS4 or buying a Machine Micro. You know, I was fresh out of college, I had no job yet. Or I think I just got a job yet. I was broke though. But I made a decision. I was like, hey man, I kind of want to treat myself. You know, I just got out. I'm gonna try this beat thing out again. And this is years later. I did try Ableton at one point in college. Didn't work out. I wasn't really paying attention. You know, I couldn't even figure it out. But when I tried this Machine, it was hands-on. It was the Micro. You know, it's similar to an MPC, which I never actually used, but it just looked more convenient to use. It was hands-on. So I used that, and you know, that allowed me to kind of like spread my wings a little bit creatively, and that's how I got into making beats. And then as far as sampling goes, that's just the stuff I grew up listening to in terms of my influences, you know. And obviously my influences, they grew up listening to like the 70s and the 60s music, so I kind of had to go back and start listening to those records myself, and that's how I started sampling. You know, I started getting it. First it started with looping, putting drums over the loops. Then you know, you get to chopping, which really Machine is what changed the game with that for me, because it taught me how to chop for real. And once I learned how to chop for real, it was honestly over from there. Like, to be completely honest, like it was just over. It was over from there.
So I haven't. I just now downloaded that album from Madlib that you just talked about. I'd never heard of that, so I downloaded it on iTunes real quick, man. I'm about to bump that. But yeah, man. So, like, can you recommend some like must-see, read, hear items, you know, for my listeners on their journey in the beats and music? You know, because it can be like a documentary or a book, YouTube tutorials, or a podcast, right? We all trying to teach each other, and some people know about this and other people don't know about it. So, you know, just sharing information, you feel me?
People trying to make beats, you know, honestly, what I tell people if they ever ask me, you know, kind of similar to myself, man, I just listen to the people like I just named, like, you know, like all the gods, you know, the Pete Rocks and the Q-Tips and Dr. Dre and, you know, stuff like that. Like, I kind of just listen to them and try to deconstruct what they did. And I'll be honest, a lot of the time you run into situations, especially when you're talking about the gods, it's like you run into situations like, I don't even know how you did that, you know. But then, you know, we live in the era of the internet, so what I had to do, I went on YouTube, and, you know, someone I could definitely recommend off rip is Jay Filt, you know, very sick beats, you know, shout out to him. I used to watch his videos all the time. There was a bunch of videos though. It was like Machine Masters, like it was different things, you know. I can't even really just name. I used to just go down a rabbit hole of just watching videos of people making beats. It wouldn't even be on the machine half the time. Sometimes I would watch videos of people making beats on SP1200s, and it's like I'm just getting ideas of like, okay, let me filter this part of the sample, you know, let me run a high pass through this part of the sample, you know, and then let's try to do the drums like this, you know, try to play drums like that, like try to make the beat machine into another type of whole other instrument or a whole other type of beat machine, like, you know, trying to replicate things. And when you're using different hardware from what, you know, your influences use, this is kind of some advice. If you think about it, it's always going to be a little bit different because it's not the same piece of hardware. So it's almost like, I almost want to recommend trying your hand at different techniques that other producers may have used with other equipment, but just flipping it with whatever you got, you know. But, you know, definitely, you know, very sick beats, you know, just to get back to that. And, you know, in terms of podcasts, I mean, listen, man, this podcast right here, man, I think podcasts like this, you know, are perfect because you're listening to other beat makers explain their process, you know, that could give you some insight into how to do it. Maybe just the inspiration, you know. I honestly think half the time all it takes is really just the inspiration. Like, you know, you just got to get inspired by something. So whether that's music, movies, cartoons, anime, video games, like these are all things that inspire me, like, you know what I mean, like I get inspiration from just doing things that I like to do, you know. So that's definitely a piece of advice right there, like just go out there and get inspired and just constantly learn, you know, be a sponge, yo.
Sage advice, man. Good advice, man. So like from your content, man, like you can your video content, you can be seen using like the Roland SP404 to create magic, man. Like, and then listening to your beat tapes, I'm like, yo, man, this your sample selection and all that type of stuff, your drums and pockets and all that type of stuff, man, it's crazy. Like, so like, do you use any other tools or DAWs to create your music? And then what's one technique that's expanded your sound that you're willing to share, like, for my listeners?
Yeah, you know, it's crazy because I definitely get down with the SP, as you can't see in the videos, you know, but in all reality, I'm using the SP as a performance tool, you know. When I do my videos, when I do live sets, I use the SP for that. I use the SP in combination with the machine. So I said I started with the machine MK2. So nowadays, you know, my machine MK2 would eventually, the pads just stopped working after a while. They got like the sensitivity was like going down. It was pretty disappointing at the time, you know. One of my mute buttons wasn't working. That's a whole part of one of my techniques, you know. So once that stopped working, I was like, alright, I need to upgrade. So I got the machine MK3, which is no longer the newest one because they made the machine live, is it called? But that one is pretty much the MK3, but just as a standalone. I actually like using the MK3, you know, with the computer. I actually like seeing it on the desktop, but it is a pretty, you know, it's a device that has all the buttons, everything, all the 8 knobs, you know, all that. So I actually use that to construct my beats. But then what happens is, you know, I'm running it into the SP simultaneously for effects, you know, whether it's an EQ or, you know, compression, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, I sample the beat live off the machine into the SP404, and then, you know, I'll probably keep that recording. Sometimes I just keep recordings and they just there, you know, on the cards. But sometimes, you know, you take one, you re-record over that same, like, so you resample it. You know, there's a resample button, SP heads know. So you resample the beat, and then you can add more effects. Or what I've even done is, you know, take loops of drums, take loops of some whole other chops, and with the SP then add another layer to the song. So really it's a conjunction of the machine and the 404 to create a lot of the music that I make, you know. It's pretty dope, like, and like, you know, that it really goes back to the whole school of what I grew up listening to and studying what they did, because, you know, that's actually not necessarily the SP404 itself, but that's how a lot of things were done. You know, they were recorded into another device, and then they will make these different layers and then put them together, and you're running effects, you know, with vintage compressors, you know. But with the SP, it's really just this little box, and it does a lot of things that the SP1200 did, you know. I saw a Quasimodo quote where they said that, you know, the 303 was like the poor man's SP1200, and I think that's so funny. But it really basically, the 404, you know, it really does basically, from what I've looked up, most of what that device does. You know, it's crazy because that's the device I initially was going on YouTube like, oh, this is the classic, the Pete Rock Q-tip era stuff. But the 404, it's like you get, you know, and then combined with the digital of the computer, which is limitless, like Machine, FL, Ableton, these are you could do anything with the computer, you know, in terms of making beats. So like when you combine that with the analog sampler sound, you know, it gets pretty crazy. It definitely gets pretty crazy, you know. That's what I could say, you know. But at the end of the day, I just want to say right now, it don't matter what you use, bro. You know, obviously shout out one time to the Koala Heads, you know. I peeped the sample and Super Duper episodes, you know. Shout out to both of those dudes, you know. And like you know, dudes like Low Tech, you know, like they kill it with the Koala, man, and it's crazy. And then, you know, you guys get the OG DiBiase using the PIA, the pocket operator. My man Groove Slinger, got to give a big shout out to Groove Slinger. You know, that's my brother from Rhythm Junkies, you know, real life brother. He kills it with the Koala too, and he also uses the MPC. So it's like you can really use anything, man, in terms of the DAWs and the hardware, the drum machines. Like it gets deep. It gets really deep, man.
Yeah.
It gets really deep.
Yeah, man. Yo, shout out to all the Koala Heads, man. Sample, Super Duper, Low Tech, and all of the guests that I have on the show, man. They all got their techniques, man. Shout out to the OG DiBiase, man. We appreciate you, man. If I can get, y'all go ahead. If y'all listen to this part, y'all go ahead and send a message like, yo, DiBiase, you need to get on the Rec Show podcast. I'm stretching, but I'm bugging out, man. But facts, man. Like, just pick something, try and master it, and then put your spin on it. You know what I mean? So that's all you can do. You feel me? So let me ask you this: like on your Bandcamp and your DSPs, you got a beat tape series called Godly, and you got like 3 volumes, right? Volume 1, 2, and 3. So, which is a mix of like boom bap, lo-fi, dance, and more. What were your muses? Like I ask this question every week, man. What were your muses and your motivation when you were creating these? Like, and then, part 2 to that is speak about creating during the pandemic and the possible benefits and to your creativity and your resiliency as well, man.
Yeah. So, Bandcamp and DSPs, just to respond to that thing right there, that's just the way, for me, it's like I just try to get my music to everybody, and like I'm the type of person where, or the type of musician you could say, I just want people to hear my music, I just want people to enjoy my music. So, and that kind of goes back in with the other part of your question, with the Godly series, you said you said boom bap and the dance music, like it's just the music that I want to hear. Like honestly, like it really isn't any deeper than that. And for me, I do have a background, a b-boy background, popping background, locking background. Like these are, I'm not gonna make myself sound like am, the craziest dancer, but this is something I like to do. My body naturally grooves to music, whether it is boom bap, even lo-fi, stuff like that, electronic music, ambient music, bro. I can find a rhythm in that sometimes, like my mind will go there. So for me, it's just like I'm literally just creating the music I want to make, and at the end of the day, it's like, it comes out sounding however it's gonna sound. I definitely have different moods in mind. There's definitely that chill mood. There's definitely that mood where you want to dance. There's definitely that mood where you want to pop your head. The mood where you want to freestyle. And then in terms of creating music during the pandemic, it's crazy because when the pandemic first started, that was when I went on, I would say, my personal breakout for myself. Like, for myself, it's like I made a lot of music in 2020. Like if you go back to 2020, that's when I dropped, the most tapes. And it was what it was. I didn't have a job. I was just home. I had class like twice a week, which was online. But besides that, I was home all day. So I was just making beats. And this is kind of around the time where I was really starting to grow into my style. Like that whole year was that for me. It was able for me to grow into my style, and it most definitely was the silver lining of the pandemic for me. You know, eventually I was able to get on my feet and all that. You know, but that was definitely an era where it's like, okay, let me just make a bunch of beats. You know what I mean? Let me just try to get my name up. You know, and I can honestly say I'm glad to see that paying off now. You know, in terms of just the amount of catalog I was able to build up more than anything. You know what I mean? Buzz or whatever, all that's secondary. But I'm honestly just happy with the amount of catalog I was able to build for myself. And to be honest, with the Godly series, that was kind of like the next year, and it was like, all right, well, let me show people that. Or let me show listeners, the supporters, people that really like my music, that, 2020 was me experimenting with, like, my sound. And the Godly series, I feel like that is the Jhershey sound. Not to say that it's not going to go even further than that, because it most 100% is, but I almost wanted to paint a little bit of a capsule of, like, okay, that was 2020, this is 2021 Jhershey, and that's the Godly series, So, but with that being said, it's on to, whatever's next, It could be a 4, it could be a whole something else different, but that was the type of time I was on last year, it was really godly. Just, I guess for me, it was like a godly aura that I felt making some of those beats, because again, like, there is range there, and that's not like a flex. That's just me trying to say, like, these are really the different moods I be in when I'm making beats. Like, it's very organic. Like, I'll make a beat. It might start off on some boom bap stuff. I throw them to BPM, and now it's a house song. And it's like, I like house music. I do like house music, so I'll make it a house song, you pitch something down and it sounds really slow and chill, then it's a mood like that. It's definitely not just one sound. It's just me showing, how I do it.
Versatility. I feel you, yo. Like, yo, you can definitely tell, like, from your releases, you definitely are versatile. You can do a whole bunch of different things, man. So I appreciate you for even sharing your music, putting it out there for people to enjoy, like on Bandcamp and DSPs and stuff like that. But you right, yo, like, a wide net is better than no net, or a wide net is better than a small net, like, just to grab more ears, because everybody's trying to jockey for attention, so, however you can get it, just, make sure it flows with your moral compass and all that type of jazz, you feel me? But yo, let me ask you this, like, the 4 pillars of hip hop are DJing, MCing, breaking, graphing, right? Which element did you begin your journey with, and then how did it affect your life when you discovered it? Because that's a big deal, right? When you ask somebody what part of hip hop did they get, exposed to, and then, how did that feel? How did that make them feel? And then what did it do for your life? You know what I mean?
It's crazy because, as I mentioned earlier, I have a b-boy background, but in all reality, well, I'm gonna say this, when I was a kid, block parties, a little like parties in elementary school, dancing would always be a thing, especially growing up in a black neighborhood, you know what I mean? So, or around black people, I should say. And, people would make the circle, the cypher, which I didn't even know what a cypher was back then. But, you jump in it. And I'll be honest, it's not even like I could really dance like that. I was a little skinny, nerdy kid, you know what I mean? So I was just doing whatever. I was just doing what I thought looked cool. I had like the worm and stuff like that, But you could say that because I'm a person that, like, the cultural, like, we're talking about the hip hop culture here. So it's like that was me participating in the culture that young. And I first saw that just being a kid in New York City, you've seen people dancing on the train, you see people walking around blasting their music out their car, and dudes walking on the street rapping to thin air, like stuff like that, but with no headphones on. But so for me it was like, you could kind of say breaking was first, but in all reality I would say the first thing I took serious was actually DJing. I tried to DJ around that same time in high school when I first initially started to make beats. I was definitely better at the DJing at first, but we're talking 15 years old, no DJ controller. I'm literally just on virtual DJ, just putting songs on the decks, slowing them down, calling them chopped and screwed, uploading it to YouTube, and calling myself a DJ. This is what I was doing at like 14 or 15, you know what I mean? Like that's how it started for me. But then like a year or so after that, I got back into the dancing thing. You know, we had this thing called Light Feet out in New York, like a New York social dance, you know, evolved from the Harlem Shake. You know, I started off doing that. My cousin was nice at it. I've been trying to be like him. He teaching me how to actually dance on beat. And then as Light Feet kind of went through phases here in New York. It had a point where it kind of died out because, you know, people didn't think it was cool anymore. So when that happened, I kind of was like, all right, well, I want to continue dancing. So then I just got into like hip hop dancing, you know, and then that brought me into back to breaking, which I had seen before growing up in New York. You've seen breaking if you grow up in New York, and it's like, you know, but people might not know what it is because, you know, it is an older thing, you know. So I had to go back and research that. And mind you, I'm a hip hop head at this time, so I'm actively looking up, you know, old school rap. I'm actively looking up Eric B. and Rakim. I'm actively watching documentaries like Wild Style and Style Wars and movies like Beat Street. I'm watching these things and absorbing the information. And at that point in time, it's like, okay, well, I love dancing, still do, you know. And it's like, well, I'm gonna do this b-boy thing, and you know, that became a thing, you know. And not even the thing. It became a lifestyle that I do still hold dear to me to this day. You know, I'm still a b-boy. I still do play music at events, and you know, it's one of the things that inspired my beat making process. But you know, like I said, once I got out of college, that's when the beat making thing started. And then I'll be honest, you know, the beat making thing kind of took a priority. But you know, it's funny with the whole hip hop conversation because, you know, for me, it's like it's always gonna go back to being a b-boy though, because if you really look at what a b-boy is, it is a hip hop head. You know, it's someone that, you know, is taking this hip hop thing and making it theirs. Like that's really what a b-boy is to me, at least, you know. And like for me, it's like I try to apply that mentality to making beats. I make beats with a b-boy mentality, you know. So that's really what it is, you know. It really goes hand in hand for me, you know. It's just really just living and breathing this hip hop thing, you know.
that Lee versus Tarantino We Like Chops joints, man. Yo, you was listening to, before that, Battle Dreams. Before that, you was listening to 5G. You was listening to All in Bass, Zion Finn, EQ. Yo, man, like OP1. You was listening to No Mile. You was listening to Last Life and Cauliflower. Yo, man. Yo, man, I tell you, man, like, you can hear definitely his versatility in Jhershey's music. But again, you're listening to the Rec Show podcast, hosted by yours truly, Gldnmnd. Go ahead and like, subscribe, follow, share, retweet, all that type of stuff, man. On Instagram, Twitter, that's where I'm at, man. Bandcamp, all that stuff, you know what I mean? So, yo, we're gonna get right back into the interview. So, Jhershey, this is a new game I created called Superheroes. You play it by naming your childhood, teenager, and adult beat maker or music producer superheroes, and, you know, just tell the listeners like why they were so important to these specific times in your life. And major key, no genres off limits. All right. So basically, like, this is a history lesson for people to, you know, go ahead and do research for people they might not know about. Feel me?
Superheroes. This is ill because I actually love superheroes. You know what I mean? But in terms of beat making superheroes, you know, that first when I was a child, I didn't know who made what. Like, I'm really thinking about this. I didn't know who made what. But in all reality, when I got to high school and I became a head, you could say, it was kind of like a hip hop head in training, really. But I'm looking up, you know, I'm going back, I'm listening to classic records, and I would say at first, so this is I'm kind of fast forwarding here, but I'm gonna go back to childhood though. But teenager was probably Dr. Dre and Primo, because that's who I was going back to. Because again, like, by the time I'm in high school, this is 2010s, you know, so this is really the era of Lil Wayne and stuff like that. But I was really just going back and just geeking off that stuff. I'm like, yo, this stuff is crazy. And it was really, what I didn't even really realize at the time, maybe, was polar opposite sounds. It was Premier East Coast sound and Dr. Dre's West Coast sound. I thought those were both crazy. So those were definitely like two big ones right there, if I'm being real. I definitely do. It would be disingenuous for me not to also say Kanye West, because Kanye West was definitely making some crazy stuff at that time. You know, this is after the whole 3-album run, the initial 3-album run, which, you know, might sound like an old head comment, but I definitely think his best production. But, you know, Graduation was crazy to me, man. When I was in 8th grade, that was crazy to me. So he will probably be one too, because he was a person where I think around that time I was like, oh, he's making his own beats. Like I learned that. And it's around this time of me learning these things, then I go back. This is why I have to backtrack. Then I go back. I was like, okay, so who made all those records I liked when I was a child? And when I was a child, I'm Change Clothes by Jay-Z, you know, PSA by Jay-Z. I was a big Jay-Z fan because he had my name, funny enough. But, you know, Black Album, love that album. So I'm looking at that era, and Black Album especially, Timbaland, Pharrell, you know, Neptunes, can't forget Chad, Neptunes, you know what I mean? Clips, Grinding, Drop It Like It's Hot, Neptunes again, and a lot of Timbo, Missy Elliott. When I was a child, Missy Elliott is another person with the dancing. She had mad dancing in her music videos, and I used to watch it as a kid and try to emulate it. I thought it was cool. I was always into just grooving to the music, even if I couldn't do it. I'm looking at Missy Elliott videos, but those were all Timbo beats. So it's almost like it's going backwards, but when I was a kid, I gotta really shout out Virginia, man. I gotta really shout out that Virginia sound, man. Neptunes and Timbaland, man. Like that synthesizer sound, like they still mess with me to this day. Like I could tell you right now, any synth beat that you hear from me, I'm definitely trying to, like, low key, like, tap into like what they were tapping into, something similar, you know what I mean? Just a similar vibe. And I definitely did not mention that earlier. Wow. I definitely used the microKORG as well. I definitely use the microKORG. I'm not, I'm still trying to get nice with it, learning how to do keys. That kind of goes back to looking things up on YouTube, looking up how to, play certain chords. I'm not a keyboard player, but, I definitely use a microKORG synthesizer too. If anybody was curious about what that keyboard was in some of my videos, if you've seen that, because, how can I leave that out? Wow. But yeah, I definitely use a synthesizer too. But to go back to the question, I ain't forget, in terms of adult beat maker, like when I got older, this is college, this kind of lines up with the other story. It really goes back to Dilla and Madlib, like I was already getting into Madlib and MF Doom, who you could say that was late teenager years. So the early teenager years was like Primo and Dre. The late teenage years became Madlib and Dilla, because I heard Unseen, I went crazy. I heard Mad Villainy and I went crazy. I heard Operation Doomsday and I went crazy, and then I heard Donuts when I was in college, and like in full, because I heard beats on Donuts, but the whole album, like that one experience, like I said, like, and that, especially after that experience, Dilla became a superhero to me, you know what I mean? But forever Madlib, Doom, Dilla, you know what I mean? Like I absolutely cannot forget RZA and Prince Paul. Definitely want to put Q-Tip and Pete Rock in there, it's a lot of people, man. Like we could be here, if you could be here all day, man, just naming different producers, man. DiBiase, man, the OG. I got him a little bit later, but that was like when I got into him, it was like a rabbit hole. Like, oh, this guy's crazy. And then, Knowledge was around that same time. I heard Knowledge on the Joey Badass tape, and I went through his stuff, and it was like then I got put on the No Worries and Anderson .Paak, who I am actually gonna throw Paak in there because he plays instruments. So I'm actually gonna throw Paak in there. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of people. Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, Odd Future. That was a whole era in high school. They were superheroes. They were these like angsty superheroes that, as a 16-year-old kid, you had to love. You know what I mean? If you were into like, the crazy shit they were into, which my black suburban ass was. So that's very real right there.
Spade, Mooly, Monkey, or nigger see me walking by like I'm a threat. How do you figure you don't even know me, homie? From a donut out the hole. So how in the fuck you think that you could have me in control? Oh no, hold your breath. Let me take you through some steps. We were once kings holding a throne. Queen stood by our side, never mistaken for hoes. Look at Nubian Queen of Bar from the kingdom of Kush. You would know about these things if you look inside the books. I'm sick of the stereotype of a thug, drug dealer, thief, or rapist look-alike. Sick of the way you see me in my car, staring at me hard, getting ready to park and double check for all your valuables. Lock your doors 3 times right before I even laugh at you. Talk shit, blast obscenities, and give you attitude. Sick of the way you view us, but love how you amuse us. Getting shot by coward cops or hung up by the Ku Klux? Suck my dick, you stupid. I'm black, I'm proud, I'm strong. 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 Right around the time they made a GBA cartridge. Finally left Bosius, graduated retard ed. Damn it, Dreamcast really had to see a dark end. Oh God, now you really got me started. I go hard like first time parallel parking. And you know my seat's so sick for make you nauseous. Think I am a dog? You can go and check my paw print. Make you run around on a leash, now you exhausted. Spoon in the yoga, how you swivel with a forklift. Up to your jaw with 2 threes like I'm Jordan. Sick of bullshit, now the heifers are the target. No, I don't abuse the moves, excuse the jargon. I swim in a part unknown, you think I'm talking with a great white and sandbar. Favorite pair of shark fins. First verse hard, but I'm done with all the nonsense. Sick of Genesis with a motherfucking car. And I'm screaming at a blind eye. I'm medicated and I swear I'm not the same. Never was a slave, but you know I'm off the chains. Be real, I'm insane and I got no brains and I'm screaming at a blind eye. This is 96, man, I park with no drawers on. And it's sprinklers and my mental start fog on. Had to wake me up with some narcon. We're out of control, but I used to be remote then. Baby boy once said that we gotta focus. High as a cloud strike, but I'm low on potions. Need a phoenix down just in case of overdosage. Squares off with Namco, you know the ring was God bless. Made a world peace weapon for that ride hard tension. Any man free off the misdemeanor charges. Felonies too depending what the fuck we talking. Beat drives in life when I midnight maraud on a tribe called Quest. Rest in peace, 5 dog. Drink Mac and the legendary Bismarck. Kango Kid and of course Young Dolph. I watch me go dumb and dumb with Mary Swanson. I think she wanted kids on her face already got some. You know I'm in the moms, I'm a motherfucking problem. They catch me screaming on the blind. Hey, yo, hurry up.
Yeah, man, yo, that's AWOL and Hirsch, man. You got the track you just heard was Screaming Down the Block, and then the track before that was Say It Loud, I'm Black, man. Yo, you can find that on all the DSPs, man. Yo, man, I had to have that track on here, man, just cause, you know, it hit me when he was talking about, you know what I mean, AWOL. So y'all check him out, man. But yo, let's get back into the interview. You feel me? Yo, man, so Jhershey, man, so can you tell us about a time where you failed and then how you overcame that failure? You know, like, secondly, what do you wish you would have known before you started on this journey in music?
I mean, honestly, as far as failure goes, you know, failure beat wise, I mean, honestly, I feel like I haven't really failed yet. And I don't mean that in a way of like I haven't had moments where things didn't go my way. My first beat set did not go my way. You know, I made a lot of mistakes with the transitions, but I knew then that was a learning process. I had like just gotten the SP like a month, and I made the mistake of not really practicing like that. But ever since then, I just been on it, you know what I mean? Just trying to get nice with my effects and just keep working at it, you know? But for me, it's like, there's always room for improvement, so I can't really look at it as a failure, you know? If I do a beat battle and I lose the battle, you know, which has happened before, like, that's not even a failure to me, you know? I did hear the interview you had with Sample, you know, I had to agree with him. It's like, it really just goes back to, well, who's ever judging this shit, you know, we all got different perceptions of how the music is supposed to sound. So for me in this beat game, and it was really an epiphany moment that I learned kind of early, but like, it don't matter, bro. Like, you can make whatever you want, you know? It's something that no one ever made before, and I feel like that's the ultimate freedom with making beats and making music. It's like, yes, you know, there probably is this music theory aspect to it, and there is things that more people are going to enjoy than others, but at the end of the day, especially in this internet era, man, there's a lane for literally any type of sound. You can make ambient music. You can play one chord on a synth and hold it and throw effects on it, and I'll tell you that stuff is dope if it sounds good to me, you know? If you twist a knob a certain way, you getting crazy with your stabs, like, I'm not even mad at it, man. Do whatever you want. So for me, it's like there really is no failure, but, you know, of course I've had my moments where I'm low and I feel like people not really messing with it, or people are trying to sleep on me or stuff like that. But man, it always just comes back to, for me, it's like, hey man, this is something you do because you love to do it. I genuinely love making beats. I would most likely be making beats no matter what, you know what I mean? So it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, there is no failure, you know? Failure is not really an option because I'm making it as a way to, you know, express myself and overcome my anxiety and insecurities. This is a place for me to escape that. So really, the making the beats is the way to come out of failures for me, like in terms of like life pressure, life, you know, whatever happens, you know, you lose a girl, you lose a job, it's like, hey, making beats is what I can come back to escape from that, you know. So I don't really look at it as, I really don't think there could be a failure with this for me, because for me it's a way to express myself outside of the pressures that I might face in, you know, the outside world. Also, in terms of who I would have known, you know, that's kind of hard because I don't even really know, like, who I've known. I mean, honestly, I guess an engineer, some sound engineer, to maybe give me some pointers with that. That's probably the only thing I could think of with that one, to be honest with you.
So, Jhershey, man, can you elaborate on you know, what the We Like Chops collective is and its mission, and, you know, can you name like the other beat makers associated with this collective? Like, what was the goal with this joint, man? I want people to tap in, man.
All right, so the We Like Chops thing, boom, you know, the We Like Chops thing honestly just started as like a group of a literal like kind of group chat really of you know, beat makers that we all just mess with each other's stuff. Some people were new to other people, so it was kind of like we're sharing each other's stuff, and, you know, we were like-minded with some of our beat making process. You know, obviously we got our differences, but, you know, we just kind of came together. We're like, you know, we like chops, you know, it's in the name. And then, you know, in terms of other beat makers associated with the collective, you know, you got my man Trill Walton. You know, he was the one who really put it in motion for us to do the donations. And, you know, with the donations, you know, we basically have different beat tapes. We like chop volumes. And at first we were picking countries. So we would pick a country. Everybody would sample music from that country. And then we would take the money that we made from the tape and then donate it to a cause that's located in that country. You know, that was all Trill Walton, you know, that was his idea. You know, and shout out Trill, you know what I mean? Like, so we kind of came together with that because, you know, the We Like Chops thing, you know, that was the group that I initially put together with my man Horace. Shout out Horace, Raw Mindset, you know, from Georgia. You man, you should definitely get him on the show, as well as Trill, as well as Low Tech if you haven't. You know, all these people, you know, so We Like Chops, you know, we got a lot of heads, man, you know. It's been a lot of people that been on different tapes, you know. We've had, I mean, I'd be here all day, man. It's a lot, man. It's a lot, bro. I'm like going blank right now because there's so many people, you know. But shout out everybody in the We Like Chops chat, man. You know what I mean? You know, like 1010, you know, Trill, Low Tech, Horace. Man, there's so many people, man. I really can't even think about it. Like, I almost want to come back to that one and just do a bunch of shout outs. Like, we got my man Pepper, we got G Rolla, we got my man Cabastos, we got Stevie, Trill, Echo, Charlie, Fulf, Ricky, Mock, Chop, Big Daddy Chop, you know, shout out Johnny Vido, shout out Zolan, you know, shout out all these, man, there's so many dudes. Old Boy, can't forget Old Boy, man, Economy, JR Economy, you had him on the show before, you know, shout out him, shout out Jersey. Just want to give a shout out to Unusual and YTC too, you know, love those dudes, you know what I mean? Shout out to everybody in Jersey for real. Yeah, it's a lot of people, man. Like, I could be here all day, but just I'm gonna just say shout out everybody and We Like Chops, you know, shout out my man Animus, you know, shout out Jacob Barlow, you know, all these dudes, bro. Killer Kane, man, it's crazy. Shout out We Like Chops, man. But, you know, we're into doing the donations, sampling from different countries. We're starting to branch into sampling other things. So, you know, we got a project coming out called We Like Chop Cinema. You know, probably could take a guess what that's going to be, but be on the lookout for that one, you know.
Yo, y'all heard it here first, man, with Jhershey, man. We Like Chops Cinema. Y'all go to We Like Chops, bandcamp.com, man. Tap into that project. I think it's dope, man. I think I'm gonna buy a couple albums off of that just to, support the cause, when I can. But, so let me ask you this, Jhershey. Like, you're a Bandcamp and digital streaming platform user. What do you think about how do you think about beat makers can benefit from using platforms like these and emerging tech such as cryptocurrency and blockchain and stuff like that, especially with the new Epic and Bandcamp or Bandcamp and Epic buyout and stuff like that, man?
I think beat makers can benefit from putting their music anywhere. There's a lane to be found with any platform that you use. You just have to kind of build your own algorithm in that platform. So for me personally, I do use Bandcamp. I do use the streaming platforms. I know people have their gripes with both of those things, but for me, it's like I'm trying to cast a wide net of people to hear my music, because I want people to hear my music. That's just my personal opinion. I do have, my thoughts on, the payment system. Like, it definitely could be better, especially for streaming. But at the same time, it's like that's what most people are using. So it really just kind of comes down to, where your priorities lie. And everybody has different priorities. And I don't think there is a right or wrong way to do this at all. It's kind of like the failure thing. It's like, man, we're just making music here, man. I know dudes that make music and that don't drop it at all. And it's some of the greatest stuff I ever heard. Like my man who's younger than me, Amiri, like he is a genius. You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of people not gonna hear what the stuff he's made, and this goes to other people too, man. Shout out my a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to, make it about that, because it might not matter for some people like that. Some people really just make music for themselves. So it's up to the artist. You know what I mean? In terms of the blockchain thing, I think blockchain is very interesting technology. I did make an NFT of the 3 Godly albums as like one NFT. I did do that. I'll be honest, man, it's kind of tough because with crypto and stuff, you gotta find people willing to spend the crypto to buy the album, which is like already a smaller amount of people than regular people with regular money by default. So that's really the only thing. I personally think that it could be useful for us artists, because there's something called smart contracts. And I'm not sure every artist is aware about smart contracts. It is pretty interesting. It basically says that if someone buys your digital art and they sell it, you will also get a portion of that sale. I think that's important because with all the, with all the gripes that we have about streaming services and transaction fees on Bandcamp, it's like, hey, there's a whole solution for that right there. But people would have to use crypto to buy these things. So that's where it gets kind of fuzzy, and I completely understand why anybody's skeptical about jumping into it. And I completely understand why people are skeptical about cryptos and NFTs in general. Like, it makes sense. It really needs to be regulated by the government. But I would say there is a future in it if it gets regulated. If it gets regulated, I think us musicians should make like I must say, I think we should make I think we should really try to make a transition, because that's how we're going to get paid. For real, if we do that, that's how we're gonna get paid. Obviously we gotta copyright our stuff so nobody else could do it, and it's probably gonna get a little bit more complicated, to be honest, but I think there's some potential there. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah, I feel you. I understand, multiple sides of the spectrum or the perspective. I definitely don't agree with the government regulating this cryptocurrency, blockchain, this whole new ecosystem that we and a lot of people are creating, because it goes against everything that it stands for when it comes to decentralization, which is, just peer-to-peer. It ain't no middleman type of joint, you know what I mean? But that's digging deeper. Like, go ahead and read like books like Bitcoin and the American Dream, or Bitcoin and Black America. There's a couple other books, man. So, but that's something different, man. So, okay. So, last question, man. Like, what should the internets look out for from Jhershey in 2022. I mean, we only in the first quarter of 2022, so, you know what I mean? How can the internet tap into you and your music? Go ahead and plug your socials, all of that. Projects coming up, all of that type of joint, you know what I mean? Any last and final words as well?
Alright, so I've been waiting to say this. Y'all can look forward to a lot. I'ma just say it, you know. For people that tapped into the Sega AM2 project that me and my man AWOL did, shout out to AWOL. You know, we definitely got more of that coming out. I know a lot of people that are familiar with me through Twitter. They know about my man Gldnmnd. If you don't know about Gldnmnd, please get familiar. That's KINGENZEE. We already got 3 records out actually, like Saturday, Sunday. Damn, I forgot the last name. But go just check out Gldnmnd, man. We got a whole project coming out, man. We doing some stuff that's been in the works, and then just a lot of collabs, man. You know, I'm working with rappers, man. I'm gonna keep it a buck, you know. Rappers tap in, man. A lot of y'all say y'all want to work with me, and then I don't know what happens, you know what I mean? But listen, I'm here, bro. I am here. You know, money talks though. Let's get that right. You know, money definitely talks, but I'm definitely here. I definitely got more beat tapes coming out. That is never gonna stop. You know, I definitely, you could say, took my foot off the gas. I've just been living life, you know, got a new job and stuff like that, you know, so I'm just trying to, you know, do what I gotta do, you know, to get by, you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that we have to be, you know, starving artists and stuff like that, but, you know, I'm definitely coming with some heat. I got beats in the tuck already. I got about 2 tapes. I got 2 tapes worth of music in the tuck right now, so just definitely be on the lookout for that, you know. I'm definitely giving my man Gldnmnd the exclusives right now. He gonna play for y'all, so, you know, this is gonna be some new stuff that you guys gonna hear, you know. I definitely want to say, you know, if possible, you know, let's you know, everybody tap in, man. You know, Jhershey, man. You guys can find me on Instagram, Jhershey Music, Twitter, Jhershey Music, Bandcamp, Jhershey, Spotify, Jhershey, Apple Music, all of that. You know, I'm on TikTok. I barely post videos, but I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I got no videos, but I'm on YouTube. I definitely want to start doing content on YouTube. I definitely want to post more content on Twitch. Also, Jhershey Music on Twitch. Literally, Jhershey Music everywhere. Just look me up. You know, I make beats. I dance. I love to do live sets. Hit me up to do a set, and I'ma pop up. You know what I mean? That's facts. Like, so tap in, man. Tap in. And, you know, definitely don't want to pass over this. You know, you also asked me any collectives. You know, I'm actually down with multiple collectives. You know, to keep it a buck. You know, I'm down with the Floor Militia crew, which is B-Boy crew, and the Rhythm Junkies crew, another B-Boy crew, 2 B-Boy crews out in Long Island. Both just hip-hop lifestyle crews, you know. I could get more into my background with that, you know. But, you know, that was that. And then, you know, that is, you know, those are still bros. We just had an event at, like, Get Down with Floor Militia, you know. And then the Anomaly Conglomerate, you know, that's my man Mike Larry Draw's creation, you know. If you could ever get him on the show, that is a must. I'm gonna tell you right now, that is a legendary dude, you know, out here in New York City, man. You know, just Mike Larry Draw from the Bronx, you know, he created the Anomaly Conglomerate. We're really just a group of some, you know, some beat makers, some creatives that like to get together and, you know, throw events. You know, shout out my man Isaac Sawyer, you know, shout out Ja, you know, shout out Kamari Carter. Shout out everybody in the scene. I see you had Vicky Cases up here. Shout out to her. Shout out to stuff that she got going on. You know, shout out Troublemaker, you know. Shout out Designer Dream. Shout out Supply Chain Radio, you know. Shout out all those dudes. Shout out Yumi. You know, Big Chef Dog, Balake, all those dudes, man. Subphylum, you know. Everybody in New York City, man. That's facts. Dope beat scene. And I can't forget my man Groove Slinger from Rhythm Junkies, and my man Emmanuel from Rhythm Junkies as well, you know, both beat makers and B-boys, and, you know, shout out everybody in Long Island as well. New York City and Long Island, I'm kinda like that bridge, you know what I mean? You know, coming from Queens and then moving to Long Island, I'm kind of like that bridge. So I definitely just want to give a shout out to all those people, because these are people that inspired me as well. And shout out to you, man. You know what I mean? With what you're doing right now inspires me, man. It just reminds me that we're really a community, man, and this hip hop culture, man, is so beautiful because it just puts us together. So with all that being said, man, I'm about to get up out of here, but peace to you, Gldnmnd. Thank you for the opportunity, man. Be on the lookout for all the beat tapes, the project with AWOL, the project with Enzy. These are things that is coming out. These are things that's really happening. You know what I mean? Tap in with me, rappers, other beat makers. Tap in with me if you want me for a live set. If you want me to do beats. If you want me to show up and dance, you want to bring my crew to your wedding, and you want my crew to dance at your wedding, hit up Floor Militia. Shout out my man Just Kev. Shout out my man Saul, B-Boy Static, Boyo. Better shout out the crew. Shout out B-Boy Matai, Young Child Prodigy, So shout out everybody, bro. But thank you again for having me, man. And, God bless you, man. God bless hip-hop. And God bless this show, man. With that being said, man, peace.
Yo, we appreciate you, Jhershey, for allowing us to spotlight you, man. Just hear from you, hear your music. Yo, man, it's always dope, man. You right, yo, God bless hip-hop. God bless everybody, man. Like, yo, a lot of people could be going through something worse, man. Yo, just make sure you count your blessings and not your problems, man. But y'all heard it here first, man. Jhershey, New York, one of New York's finest, man. I don't know if I'm gonna turn this into a New York, month. I don't even know, man. But yo, I need females on this show, man. Like, especially with their music on Bandcamp, man. As of right now, I literally have 5. I have 5 females on this show so far, and we on episode 40, man. I don't like that, man. I don't like that ratio, yo. So, but anyway, tap into Jhershey, everything Jhershey. I'm gonna leave the links in the description. Yeah, man. So once again, thank you for tapping in, man. Count your blessings, not your problems. And I'm gonna see y'all on another one next week, man. I love y'all, man. Appreciate the support, man. Y'all been showing on Twitter and Instagram, man. And let's just keep building this thing, man, up. I mean, because ultimately it's for us, you know what I mean? It's for us, you feel me? So I appreciate y'all, man. So with that being said, I'm gonna see y'all next week. Peace and love, yo.
Niggas can't game like the PS2.
white lights are humans. And these are the mutants.
They tell like younger kids or other producers like that's cheating, you can't really accept it, but bruh, like when it comes to this producing shit, you can do whatever you want.
You've been listening to the Rec Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Remember 3 things. Believe in your music. Take care of your mentals. Become the best version of yourself. Until the next one, Gldnmnd signing off. Peace and love, yo.
To be the best, you got to work overtime. To be the best, you got to work overtime.
These young boys getting better. This is not like the NBA when you can retire. Like this is, you have to keep going.